CS TV, tu portal de tecnología e informática, al servicio de la sociedad y los negocios.
Welcome to SAS Global Forum. Here's Katie Linendahl.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Look at this spectacular view of the SAS World headquarters here in Cary, North Carolina. As you can see, this is one gorgeous campus. I'm Katie Linendahl, and I'll be your host for SAS Global Forum, and we're bringing together the analytics community in a safe environment to exchange ideas in a one-of-a-kind conference where learning, training, networking, and inspiring sessions converge. We are live and thrilled that you've joined us. We have a full program ahead with lots of exciting announcements and a keynote from author Adam Grant. And first, a little bit about me. Well, I've always loved technology. I started coding when I was 12 years old. So being here at SAS around all these curious and brilliant minds, well, it is a true pleasure. And I've been fortunate to combine my two passions, technology and media. And I get to do some fascinating things and work with some incredibly brilliant people. Now, these days, you might see me on one of the national morning news shows talking about the latest tech gadgets, or see me in an exotic location exploring cutting-edge technology. And I also get to do really amazing things like be with you here, right now. And I have to say, you're in for a treat. Today, you're going to see some fascinating ways that SAS transforms data into intelligence and inspires people all around the world to make bold discoveries that drive progress. Let's take a quick look at the agenda for today and the rest of the week. And remember, in the virtual attendee hub, you can choose your journey by selecting which sessions you'd like to attend. All right, so right now we're in opening session, and immediately after we wrap up here, you got options. You can join Hakeem Ulusheh, an astrophysicist at NASA, for a fascinating journey through space and time. And if you're into magic, Ben Seidman is on deck with a jaw-dropping performance and sharing some mind-blowing tricks. There's also a fun trivia game along with a wellness break from the SAS Recreation and Fitness Center team. And there are lots of great options going on this afternoon that I'll tell you about later today. But how about this to end our day? We have an entertaining and hilarious conversation with Dan Levy. You probably know him for his portrayal of David Rose in the hit TV show Schitt's Creek. You don't want to miss that. And that's just today. Tomorrow we're back here live, same place, same time, with Technology Connection with Chief Technology Officer Brian Harris and a team of R&D demoers to show us the latest and greatest from SAS. But now it is my true pleasure to welcome the co-founder and CEO of SAS, Jim Goodnight.
Hello everyone, and welcome to SAS Global Forum. For the second year, this is an all-virtual event. While we may not be together at the same site, I hope you will enjoy all of the sessions that we have planned at this event. Over the last 15 months, we've seen the world change in countless ways. I am happy to see how data and analytics have become more prevalent in our world. We're relying on math and science to make important decisions. We look at data to determine when it's safe to travel or return to the office. Through data, we're answering some of those questions and making better decisions each day. Organizations find patterns in data and understand how to turn this insight into actions. Over the last year, we've seen our organizations doing incredible things to recover from the initial stages of the pandemic and reimagine how they could work in the future. In today's session, you'll hear from a variety of organizations who are making analytics a priority and how they're helping us return to normal. Analytics is helping deliver vital services to citizens, bringing customers back to entertainment and sports venues, and delivering a better demand planning decision process. Now, in this past year, SAS has focused on our customers, as we always have. When the world suddenly changed, it forced us to innovate, to push the boundaries of what's possible. And although our R&D staff is almost all still working remotely, we are continuing to meet the market's demand for better, more agile, creativity, innovation, and curiosity. This year, SAS has received recognition for our technology and our workplace. In March, we were named to the Fast Company Most and one of the 100 best companies to work for. This innovative spirit inspires the technology that puts us at the forefront of the market. In November, we announced version 4 of VIA, a cloud-native technology that allows you to rapidly deploy the software and start getting immediate benefits from your investment in SAS. This is just complex data sets. We first started working on the technology that ultimately became VIA in 2009. That year, I met with a banker in Singapore who explained that the firm's risk computations took 18 hours to process. That was often longer than the bank had to make a decision that could have a positive impact. We started thinking about how to hardware. We designed the system to handle big data, keep it in memory, because all nonlinear and most machine learning models require multiple passes of the data. We were able to spread the processing to dozens or even hundreds of cores to do the computational work. At the bank in Singapore, those 18-hour computations suddenly took just 15 minutes. Within the next year, we began distributing high-performance analytics. 4 years later, we began shipping our second generation of in-memory server, which we call Laser. We named the third generation VIA, and with the latest release of this from the beginning, VIA has been about performance, speed, and large amounts of data. Once you've analyzed the data and create a model, you can send it immediately into production. That's something others can't do without additional coding or rewrites. It's a powerful capability. I've asked Jason Gray, Senior Vice President of Data and Analytics Solutions at Citi, to discuss their implementation and how they're using SAS VIA to create a more powerful analytics ecosystem. Jason, welcome to SAS Global. What were some of the drivers of that effort, and where is Citi on its analytics journey?
Citi's mission is to serve as a trusted partner to our clients, and we're committed to environment we provide for our analytical functions. This includes ensuring consistency and long-term repeatability of execution of algorithms for our analytic teams to help drive insights and optimization. SAS supported integration into the Citi's analytics hubs, and it complements what we do across. To do what we need to do from an analytics perspective, we're working towards business empowerment for our analytic teams on a scale we're unable to achieve in the past. This has been a necessity as we see a needed increase for frequency and depth of analytics. For example, SAS VIA was able to run and turn around response times to an account level model from 27 hours to 3 hours with increased sample sizes. VIA integration with open source products like Python has allowed us to compare and contrast analytic tools across vendors, all within a consistent API-driven environment.
We often hear from our customers that integrating analytics models from a number of different sources has been a challenge in the past. How is Citi working to create a more unified platform?
We need to have a repeatable and audible process. Repeatability is key and required long-term consistency with model treatment. Providers like SAS enable us with commercial support for ensuring both the algorithm and cross-platform execution is consistent and repeatable across releases for years to come. This eliminates resource burn from required release regression testing with other products. Supports a variety of scripting languages. This allows for analyst flexibility while eliminating the need for highly specialized resources.
Well, that's a good way of looking at how SAS provides all of these features in a single platform. But we both know that there are often other tools and code bases to use. How does Citi work with that wide array of tools?
Do we think that every algorithm is going to be 100% SAS? Probably not. You know, there are people who know Python, they know other languages as well. And this needs to be incorporated into what we do from analytics perspective. And that's what the Analytic Hub has given us. We're deploying an OpenShift and Kubernetes coupled with the API-driven VIA software. And these capabilities enable the open use of tools from any environment where Citi operates. This benefits our customers by providing the possibility of advanced analytics to any customer touchpoint. Another benefit is the out-of-box enablement to move to all major cloud providers with little impact to overall process.
Well, another thing that I'm interested in is having the talent to create and tune those models. How are you finding analytics talent in today's market?
We are now able Citi to then source more SAS literate analysts who can provide value quickly. This is key to our business commitments and long-term supportability. Low-code, no-code tools like Model Studio and Model Manager allow for rapid deployment of advanced analytics with little to no technology involvement. So we're now able to hire a wide range of people who can work on specific modeling projects without having to do a lot of programming.
Well, Jay, say are the top 2 or 3 benefits Citi is seeing from this comprehensive analytics hub, and what's next on the horizon?
Rapid scalability, improved analytic turnaround with less touch points, and open architecture is creating a future-proof deployment. One item on the horizon we're very
Thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've talked about what our technology can do. Let's see it in action. I've asked Jonathan Wexler from our product strategy group to show us a little about what VIA can do. Jonathan?
Thanks, Dr. Goodnight. The speed at which analytics must be consumed and deployed has increased insight into COVID trends around the world. In this short demo, I will show you how SAS provides the ability to not only monitor trends, but build and deploy models on a global scale using the power of cloud computing. Let's get into the demo. To begin our demo, I have logged into our publicly available coronavirus dashboard powered by SAS. On a daily basis, this report is updated with the latest data from around the world, providing insight into the latest trends and potentially early warning signs for new surges and spread. You can very quickly drill into any country around the world for in-depth analysis. Using time-lapse capabilities, you can see how COVID spread around the world with speed. From an epidemiological perspective, increased case counts lead to increased hospitalizations, which lead to increased ICU visits and unfortunately to increased deaths. Analytically speaking, hospitalizations are a lagging indicator for deaths. But what if we could identify those COVID cases who have an increased risk of hospitalization? Imagine if we could proactively alert medical facilities to anticipate demand for services or deploy assets to local areas before a surge happens. That is the problem I am demoing today. Using publicly available data from the CDC, I want to identify the most significant factors related to hospitalizations after COVID diagnosis. There are more than 24 million COVID cases in the US. About 12% of those have information on hospitalizations. We have 19 epidemiological factors in the raw file. The data is very incomplete given the sporadic nature of the data sources, so we need to make sure we apply data quality. Folks, the factors and models I will demo will not provide new insight into the reasons for COVID hospitalizations. I want us to be ready for the next pandemic. What I want you to take away is the ability for SAS to provide immediate, tangible value for a global problem, the likes it has never seen before, and get this information out to governments, labs, hospitals within hours of the next pandemic hitting. You walk into a clinic, take a test, and you are notified immediately if you are high risk. Imagine what you could have done with the power of SAS a year ago. I've logged into the SAS platform. Before I walk through the demo, it's worth noting how the machine was provisioned. Within 30 and network connectivity for a massively parallel in-memory cluster. With all of the visualization, machine learning, and model they could have done that instantly. This is quite a feat. Now that I'm in the system, I can quickly go into my shared workspace. Before we move into modeling, let's review the process that was used to create this data set. Using a visual flow, data engineers and data scientists can access, integrate, cleanse, and prepare any data set. This flow joins together multiple data sources. Within this interactive drag and drop flow, I can even run SAS code and generate output as I normally would expect. For those of you who have used Enterprise Guide over the years, you can even bring in your EG code and flows. Since this is a collaborative exercise, I could bring in a Git repository from a colleague. Now that the flow is complete, all of the code is generated. Most importantly, once my flow is built and the data set is generated, the data is loaded to memory once, available for multiple concurrent users to access. I can set the automation triggers so this process can run as often as it needs to. Now that my data set is prepared, let's get into machine learning. As we have demonstrated in the past, you can very easily use our drag and drop GUI to build machine learning pipelines, using both feature engineering and machine learning. This is very powerful for data scientists to rapidly prototype solutions.
Jonathan, it looks like you ran a few different machines.
I created a basic machine learning pipeline very quickly so that I can use this as a benchmark to get into ensembling the predictions. This was very easy to do using our no-code experience. Let's take a look at the forward logistic regression. This is a highly understandable and explainable model. In addition to the parameter estimate, season, diagnosis, and symptomatic presence are most indicative of hospitalization. So where are we so far? The forward logistic regression accounted for about 85% of the area under the curve, which is a reasonable place to start, but I want to see if we can improve.
Well, you mentioned it spun up a massive parallel processing cluster. Can you tell us a little about that process and how many models it ran?
Yeah, sure. Our MPP cluster allowed us to run several hundred, if not thousands of models using automated machine learning. Let's take a closer look at what happened. Given time was of the essence, I set the automated machine learning to run for an hour. This pipeline is a result of an automated machine learning process. Since I'm using a massively parallel compute cluster, I wanted to use the embedded intelligence of SAS to generate hundreds, if not thousands, of potential models for me using automated machine learning. During this automated process, the system determines how much compute power it has and how much it needs, and will spawn off hundreds of simultaneous processes to best optimize the use of our cloud infrastructure. The process takes thousands of passes through this large data set to clean, benchmark, improve, and model. As the system scans through the data, it continuously benchmarks itself against prior runs to optimize the final solution. Again, these are full pipelines using state-of-the-art data quality and feature engineering while running series of smart ensembles to complete the analysis.
Well, Jonathan, it sounds like there's a lot going on behind the scenes while this is running. Can we monitor the MPP workload?
Node usage and see where there are potential inefficiencies and take action. This is an actual recording of my run showing all 4 nodes firing on all cylinders.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. I can't wait to see it in the hands of our customers. Now, why don't you show us the results of your analysis?
Now that our automated machine learning process is complete, we can take a look at the top models, including the various feature engineering techniques attempted. All of our results are fully transparent. We can see that a series of gradient boosting models mixed in with our automated feature engineering process known as Feature Machine generated a champion pipeline. If I open the gradient boosting node, you can see again that our top variables are age group, state, and season of testing, which is representative of regional surge. Our assessment plots indicate that we're moving in the right direction in terms of classification. Since you all have a newfound appreciation for data science, how can you go about interpreting these results if you are not professionally trained data scientist? You can use our automated natural language, which provides a real-time readout of your analysis and will provide business context for wider consumption. For example, it will explain what lift or misclassification means and the context of your data. As we look at our model comparison, looks like the new ensemble model from our AutoML process is in the lead. As a data scientist, I am never satisfied. I want to really use all the power of my cluster and tailor the automated runs across various techniques. SAS has opened up the AutoML process using the Model Composer node. This uses a genetic algorithm to search the hyperparameter space for the most optimal settings. It will automatically run a series of evaluations looking for the most optimal result. What does this mean for you? Smart, intelligent use of your cluster with knobs and dials for data scientists to tweak. Nothing in this system is black box. If we dig into the results of the Model Composer run, you have visibility into how the system divided its workload across the different algorithms, shifting resources across the 4 nodes in the cluster, optimally dividing the work in parallel. Hundreds, maybe thousands of tests. This is amazing. As you can see, I found the best configuration for each model type and the best overall, which was a gradient boosting model. Edging closer to responsible AI, with medical data, there is a large potential for hidden bias. We can see the various age group differences and likelihood for hospitalization, likewise across different symptomatic behavior, in addition to testing identification. I can analyze individual records using methods of Lime and Shapley. All of this at my fingertips. Let's go into the pipeline comparison to compare the methods that we ran. It looks like our Model Composer was the best model, as it accounted for the highest AUC at about 0.867. It beat out the automated machine learning and baseline models, which is not surprising. Once I am satisfied with my analysis, I need to be able to deploy these models to production automatically with no recoding. Using our automated deployment, these models can be deployed with just one click to downstream systems or applications. Imagine if we had built models by state, by region, by hospital, and we need to get this information out fast so that the analytics can help inform decision making. If I wanted to communicate my findings to non-technical audiences, I can do that with automated insights. You don't have to be a SAS user or even a data scientist to use SAS. We have truly democratized the use of analytics with our scalable, automated platform. Back to you, Dr. Goodnight.
Well, thanks, Jonathan. Very informative demonstration. If you want to see more SAS technology in action, don't miss the Technology Connection. And be sure to explore all of the sessions at SAS Global Forum to learn how analytics is being used to solve problems and improve society. As Jonathan showed us, we saw the effects of the pandemic on our medical system, and we're also seeing a global increase in the need for mental health services. Last year, the World Health Organization found that 60% of countries reported a disruption in mental health services for vulnerable people, including children, adolescents, and other populations. May is Mental Health Awareness Month in the U.S., and we are happy to work with organizations to get these services where they're needed. SAS partners with the California Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission to use data and analytics to show how programs are working within the state. They integrate information from different state agencies like criminal justice and employment data to understand correlations and learn how mental health affects the lives of citizens. I've asked Dr. Josh Morgan, our Whole Person Care Director, and Dr. Dante Early, the Chief of Research and Evaluation, to you.
Thanks, Dr. Goodnight. As a psychologist, I'm passionate As a fellow Californian, we've both seen a lot of large-scale crises affect our communities, and mental health is an important part of recovery from those incidents. In the midst of COVID-19, we're also paying more attention to the role of mental health in our communities. How does the Commission and your team help the state better respond to mental health?
Well, Dr. Morgan, the Commission's mission is to transform the mental health system so that everyone who needs care receives high quality and culturally competent care. That requires engaging with public agencies that intersect with mental health, such as schools, healthcare, and the criminal justice system. services and care. So in that context, we use data for several things. We use data to tell a fact or practices within communities, to connect siloed public agencies, to evaluate policies and many of us already knew in regards to health disparities. We have seen that some of the communities hit hardest by COVID have been BIPOC communities, namely African American, Latinx, and Indigenous people. And what we've seen is a disproportionate death rate from COVID for these communities. What we are witnessing is the impact of social determinants of health, which are conditions in which we live, work, and play. To better assess how all of these factors are impacting the lives and outcomes of mental health consumers, we have brought together data from county and state health agencies, Department of Justice, Department of Education, Public Health and Death and Birth Records, and the Employment Development Department. Together, data from all of these systems tell the story of whether we are truly moving the needle in the right direction.
You just mentioned several very important organizations that do indeed give us a more even strengths-based holistic perspective. That's obviously a data integration challenge, but the Commission's ultimate goal is to be able to find and tell a more accurate, complete story. How do you use data to find that story?
So state agencies have huge amounts of sideload data that, for the most part, are not being fully leveraged to help us understand the effectiveness of existing programs and how we can better serve Californians. The Commission's high-level goal is to connect and then evaluate the data to develop a fact-based understanding of what is happening in our community and how we can make better use of available resources. Let me give you an example. So to support improved policy and guide investments, the Commission matched criminal justice data with mental health data for more than 64,000 mental health consumers. Our analysis showed a strong association between mental health service program participation and a reduction in arrests. Program participants saw a 47% reduction in arrests, and even more remarkably, a 69% reduction among clients who had previous high criminal justice involvement. This is the power of data to tell a story. Simply put, mental health services reduce criminal justice involvement.
Indeed, that is one of the beautiful things about data and analytics in being able to broaden out our understanding of the impact of services. I'm particularly excited to see how data can continue to help our understanding of mental health and even more accurately. For the Commission, what does this data give you the ability to do?
We are constantly seeing individuals who have mental health needs that are not being met, but we can use data to help. This is what I call using your superpower. My superpower is data. Our superpower is data. So the question is, how do we do a better job of using our superpower to help people? What I love about data and the power of data is its ability to lift up the voices of communities that are often unheard, underserved, or unserved. Data has the superpower to move us from philosophy, perception, and anecdote to a fact-based understanding of what is really happening. Data enables innovation, evaluation, and continuous improvement. Data allows us to scale up what we learn from innovative programs. At the Commission, we have used data to expand the infrastructure for evidence-based models like ALCOVE, which is a youth drop-in center model that provides support and resources for at-risk youth by trusted adults. Data truly is the currency of mental health transformation.
I love that. That's a great way to really improve a strengths-based whole person approach. And I think several of us may end up stealing that phrase of data is the currency and our superpower. I love that. Dr. Early, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me and for highlighting this important issue.
Well, thanks, Dr. Early, for sharing your insights with us today. We are proud to support this effort to find new and innovative ways to bring services to people. As we work with our customers, we are finding ways to create a more stable and encompassing analytics ecosystem. To do that, we're working with a variety of partners to expand the reach of SAS and give our customers more options as they build their infrastructure. Last year, we announced a partnership with Microsoft to allow our customers to easily run SAS workloads in the Azure cloud environment. We're also working with Microsoft on integrations that can bring SAS analytics to Microsoft Cloud solutions, like Dynamics 365 and Power Platform. Earlier this year, I spoke with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella about this partnership and asked him where he saw this partnership going.
There's a lot to be excited about when you sort of see what Y on Azure can accomplish. I mean, the 2020 and this pandemic has really changed customer expectations, Jim. I mean, every customer, I think, is now going to expect a new level of personalized experience, how they interact with any brand or any organization. And the same thing is happening even with employees inside the company. So I think how an organization harnesses data to create increasing levels of predictive and analytical power is going to be directly related to firm performance. And that's, I think, what's exciting. And that's why I think this partnership of ours, right, bringing analytics, AI, cloud together to help customers accelerate their transformations is hugely important. Making data accessible across the organization, Jim, which you've talked about and thought about a lot. Domain experts, the C-suite, the developers, the analysts, the frontline workers, as well as the knowledge workers, is going to be very important. And that's why I think data governance is huge. And this is where some of the work you've done, both on the analytics side and on the data governance side, I think is a very important, timely set of innovations for every organization going forward. So I'm really looking forward to this technology in the customer's hands as they rapidly transform their industry through data.
At this year's event, we're also announcing support for additional cloud providers, including Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud Services. We know that our customers have options as they move to the cloud, and we will meet them where they're going. SAS is also working with companies like Red Hat to optimize the way analytics can run in hybrid cloud environments. Look for more information on our technology partnerships later in this session, when Brian Harris, our CTO, reviews our long-term vision for SAS software. One of the more interesting uses of our technology is in the field of sports analytics. When the Summer Games in Tokyo were delayed by a year, athletes around the world had to stay in top shape and be ready to peak at a different time. SAS has worked closely with British Rowing to get athletes prepared to be their best when it matters. Let's learn about how British Rowing is using SAS to optimize training and prepare athletes to go for the gold.
Thanks, Dr. Goodnight. As the official analytics partner of British Rowing, SAS has been helping the organization become more data-driven and find those marginal gains that can help make the boats go faster. I'm delighted to be joined by Brendan Purcell, Director of Performance at British Rowing. Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Riyadh. How are you?
Good. It's really great to speak with you. So at the top of everyone's mind, and certainly on mine, is how did you cope with the competition suddenly being postponed by a year? Obviously, you needed to reset and start planning for an event that was many more months away than you originally planned. And you had the challenges of lockdown and athletes being stuck at home and unable to get to the boats and to train together. How did you deal with this?
Yeah, I suppose at first we just tried to reassure the athletes that we were going to come up with a plan that would give them the best opportunity to perform when the Olympics were rescheduled. And the first thing we did was supply them with ergos at home. So we set them up being able to train at home. So every athlete had an ergo. And that was really important to us because from ergos, obviously, we can get a lot of data from their training sessions. And obviously, over the last 5 years, with the help of SAS, we've been able to rationalize and centralize that data. And so we were able to tailor programs to the athletes through that data insight more than we would normally do when we're seeing them face to face, because this time we had to do it remotely. And that really helped us set out the plans that were best for them. I think the other thing that became pretty apparent when we sat back and thought about it was, from all the data we have collected, we realize the biggest gains that we make from a physiological perspective are through the winter block of training. And so basically what we applied was we're going to do another winter block because we actually have a young group of athletes who are still developing their physiology. So in some ways we said we're going to do a winter block to sort of like accelerate, and then we're going to go back into a winter block. But with the data, it just allowed us to make sure we tailored it to the right people for the right times.
That's fantastic. And then applying that winter block, you could plan things out in a different way. So now that you have all this data, do you see that the future of the sport is going to be even more influenced by technology like artificial intelligence and advanced analytics?
I think actually there's a multitude of opportunities for us here, particularly around actually being able to tailor it to individuals. Like rowing, obviously at a team at the Olympics, you can have 48 athletes. And in the past, a lot of data has been, so much data we collect, but you analyze it and look for the trends across the group rather than understanding the individual variances. So the more we can use analytics to actually look at the actual performance against what our predicted performance was, we'll be able to tailor each individual program to get the most out of the crew rather than the average out of the crew. And I think that's a really important thing. The other area where we've got a lot of opportunity is better decision making around crew selection. Too often it's been successful, but it's relied on the coach feel, the coach experience, the coach knowledge, which is absolutely critical. But with better data analytics, we can blend the coach's instinct, feel, and experience with real insight that actually either corroborates or maybe challenges what we've been doing to make better decisions so that our crews are more functional and more cohesive.
You mentioned something to me when we were speaking earlier, that there was a competitive spirit that came out among the rowers. Even though they were on ergos, not physically located close to each other, they were still motivated despite their distance.
Yeah, and it's a group sport, and they thrive off working with each other and training with each other and sort of getting each other, challenging each other. So they created Zoom calls when they were doing their ergo sessions. And, when one guy, Tom George went out and broke a British record for the 2K ergo, a few weeks later, Mo Sabihi came back and beat it, and everyone was celebrating that. It wasn't seen as a bad thing. It was awesome.
So with the summer games now just a couple of months away, how are preparations going and how are you and the team feeling about your prospects?
Really, I suppose both a measure of excitement that we're actually going to the games and we're now competing again, but balanced with actually we've still got some work to do to make sure we peak at the right times. We've obviously just come back from the European Championships. We've topped the medal table there for the first time since 2015. Came away with 12 medals, 5 gold. So outstanding performance from all our athletes, and just a great way. It's been 20 months since we've raced. A great way to start racing again. And the real work that we're doing now is looking back at all the data we had around our predicted performance going into that event, balancing it against the actual, and then using that to, I suppose, plot our way forward as we go through with less than 100 days to go to Tokyo.
Excellent. Thank you, Brendan. We are very proud of our partnership with British Rowing and will definitely be rooting for you. Good luck to you and the team, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Riyadh. Really nice to talk to you as well.
Now, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Goodnight.
Well, thanks, Riyadh and Brendan. The innovation that we're bringing to British Rowing and other SAS customers is only possible with a strong community of SAS users working together to find answers that are hidden in the data. To foster this curiosity and innovate spirit, SAS has created the Analytics Explorers program. This group of SAS users and experts work together to share knowledge and help you on your analytics journey.
Did you hear about the SAS Analytics Explorers Advocate community? It's a place where SAS customers gather to network with peers, learn about SAS products, develop their careers, find work and life inspiration, tell success stories, share best practices, and shine as thought leaders in their field. With portals in Asia Pacific, EMEA, Latin America, Canada, and in the US, thousands of data scientists, business analysts, marketing and risk professionals, fraud experts, data professionals, developers, and administrators interact with each other in different languages, including English, French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese. By participating, you can share your opinion, engage in friendly competition, improve your standing as a thought leader, or earn points to trade in for great rewards. Here's what your peers say. If you are a SAS client, join the SAS Analytics Explorers now.
We're also working with analytics talent across the globe in a hackathon project. Late last year, we put out a call for curious and bright individuals to use analytics and AI to solve real-world challenges. I've asked Marinella Profi, part of our product marketing team, to tell us more about the SAS Hackathon.
Hi, I am Marinella, and I'm speaking to you today from the Fountain of Trevi in Rome. And if you think that a hackathon is just a competition, you're missing the full picture here. We invited customers, partners, startups, communities, and universities worldwide to come together to solve some of the world's most critical issues using SAS Viya on the Azure cloud. The final goal, empowering diversity to work together and bring practical innovation to the marketplace. Over 100 teams from 31 different countries across every geography and industry were chosen among more than 1,400 registrants. Teams were organized into 13 tracks, each one led by a SAS mentor. Teams took on challenges as diverse as their perspectives and backgrounds, including improving education quality, COVID-19 impact, sustainable business practices, climate change, preventing childhood obesity, and more and more. The hackathon was a true corporate collaboration made possible with the generous sponsorship of Intel, Microsoft, and Core Compete, and of our partner in diversity efforts, Rewriting the Code, Athena International, and the Women in Technology Network. Over the past month, a distinguished panel of judges has selected teams from each track with the most impressive use cases, looking at the creativity and the potential of being developed into a solution. And I'm so excited to know this year's winners. And do you know for what else the Fountain of Trevi is known for? For making wishes. About 3,000 euros end up in the fountain every day, and they're collected to subsidize the local supermarket for its needy. Curious to know the winners? I made my wishes. Dr. Goodnight, over to you to announce the winners.
Well, thanks, Marinella, and thanks to everyone who participated in this hackathon. Today, we're happy to announce the winners of the 2021 event. In the Data for Good category, the winner is a Canadian team from Canada. This group focused on reducing emergency vehicle collisions through audio sensing and autonomous intersection management. LivenSense, a team based in India, won the industry category and focused on real-time energy optimization for furnaces to reach a net zero carbon objective. In the startup category, the War on Cancer team from Sweden took home the top prize for their use of analytics to improve mental health for cancer patients. Congratulations to the winners, and thanks to all who participated in this hackathon event. Look for more opportunities to learn about SAS in future hackathon events. SAS has supported education for decades, from fostering STEM skills in young students to cultivating new data scientists. Today we are launching resources for a new generation of data natives. Young people today are immersed in data. From before they are born, we monitor their development on apps. We track their diapers, their feedings, their sleep. We track their reading level, their grades, their screen time. They are being raised in a world that is smart, programmable, and data-rich. We have an unprecedented amount of data waiting to be transformed into intelligence, and a persistent demand for data-minded professionals. Because of this, data professionals will be at the forefront of the world's most innovative discoveries. Not everyone needs to become a data scientist, but data literacy is an essential skill. Data literacy is the ability to consume, interpret, understand, and communicate using data. From shopping and home health monitors, from smartwatches to social media, we now rely on data to navigate our daily lives. The pandemic highlighted the critical and urgent need for data literacy in ways that we haven't seen before. Faced with a tidal wave of information, some true, some false, some biased and misleading, many people found themselves overwhelmed and underprepared to make meaning of the data that they were encountering. The new SAS Data Literacy training launched today introduces data and what it means to be data literate. It teaches strategies for seeing the usefulness in data, interrogating data, discovering meaning, making decisions, and communicating data. The course follows the journey of a concerned parent, a small business owner, and a public health expert. All these people need to use data to navigate the pandemic. The training also introduces some of the ethical questions of working with data, focusing on how bias impacts the way that we select, interpret, and share data with others. The course will help people gain the confidence and skills to be a little more curious and critical about the data that they encounter every day. Today's data natives want to change the world, and they'll need to be data literate to do so. We're excited to support them in their journeys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Goodnight. And thank you for that, Jonathan Wexler, for that great demo. The rumor is they might let me do a demo tomorrow during Technology Connection too, so be sure to join us for that. All right, how are we doing out there? Everybody feeling good? Because we still have plenty of great content ahead. And earlier I shared some of the options that you can check out right after we wrap up here. Then after that, from 1 to 4 this afternoon, as well as tomorrow afternoon, there are a ton of opportunities. You can schedule an appointment to network, connect with SAS experts, or chat with one of our exhibitors and partners. You can also consult a code doctor to review your data. How cool is that? And with more than 150 breakout sessions, top-notch sessions by industry leaders, we got you covered across the board with everything you need to move your business forward. And a few key areas to explore. Be sure to check out the Innovation Hub. Here you can join virtual meeting rooms to see demos and connect with experts. You'll see the latest innovations in industry and business solutions all live. And make sure to stop by and visit the sponsors and discover what they can do for you. Lastly, don't miss out on the SAS Lounge. Inside, you'll find the help desk, social innovation, SAS Analytics Explorers, and more. And drop by the photo booth, snap a pic, pic to prove it. Show the world you were here. Again, all of that is happening this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon, so be sure to check it all out. So much good stuff. All right, shall we keep this going? As you know, SAS is always on the cutting edge of the latest technology. So to give us a deep dive on all things SAS and maybe some sneak peeks, up next, I'm very happy to welcome the Chief Technology Officer of SAS, Brian Harris.
As Dr. Goodnight said, in a lot of ways, 2020 was about surviving. Now, 2021 is about being proactive and ultimately thriving in the new normal. Many of you are already doing this, adapting and changing your priorities to meet market demands. But depending on your industry, you may be improving your recommendation engine for an online store or tackling a huge problem like supply chain agility. Whatever the goal is, you're looking to analytics and technology to help you make data-driven decisions and deliver competitive advantages. And SAS has always been recognized for delivering on this promise with our software. But in this new normal, we have to acknowledge that the complexity, diversity, and volume of data has increased dramatically. The analytics ecosystem is larger and far more complex than ever before. And analytic outcomes must be delivered at the speed of your business. SAS is your trusted partner to help you accelerate, innovate, and disrupt. And here are a few key ways in which we're doing just that. First, we are investing in our technology to analyze any data, anywhere, at any scale. And we are partnering with leading companies to simplify and advance the analytics ecosystem. And we are enabling you to deploy models in production faster. So today, I'll talk about how we're delivering on this promise. SAS has 5 key vision areas that drive our technology. First, we believe analytics must be experienced everywhere, working behind the scenes to improve decisions. For business leaders looking to increase revenue, reduce costs, and improve efficiency, we can integrate analytics anywhere through your extended enterprise to meet these goals. This can be achieved on-premises, in the cloud of your choice, embedded in sensors, or any combination thereof. For data scientists, our platform gives you analytic choice and control. While SAS-based analytics are absolutely world-class, we're excited to add value to the vibrant open source ecosystem with languages like R and Python. And as we all know, analytics is at the heart of human progress. So we, as a company, SAS, want to see your work deployed into production and make positive impacts on society. We are inspired and driven to deliver the most productive analytic platform that enables you to realize your potential as a data scientist. Now, from an IT perspective, SAS is now fully containerized, cloud native, and supported by continuous integration and continuous delivery. This means you could run and operate SAS consistently with other technologies in your cloud ecosystem. Second, analytics must be created with and consumed by everyone. As companies accelerate their digital transformation, they are integrating advanced analytics and automated decisioning into their business processes. In fact, a best practice, or even some would say a critical practice, is to treat analytics as a team sport that spans multiple roles across your organization. For example, business analysts are looking to visualize and ask questions of data. Data scientists are experts in building models to answer those questions. And executives are looking to see the impacts to the bottom line of these new answers and decisions. SAS enables all of these roles to collaborate seamlessly in the same environment. Now, I've talked a little about our first 2 vision areas. Before I expand on the next 3, I want to show you an example. SAS works with India's largest paint manufacturer, Asian Paints, which serves consumers in more than 60 countries. Data and analytics are front and center in their digital transformation. Let's hear from Deepak Purcell, the general manager at Asian Paints, on the importance of making analytics available to everyone, everywhere.
An insight-driven organization embeds analysis, data, and reasoning into the decision-making process every day. It actively looks at collecting data and looking at automating decisions whenever possible. More importantly, it's more about the cultural aspect of decision making, the curiosity, the inquisitiveness to look at what data has got to offer in unraveling newer insights. One thing you've got to realize that there's a lot of data across the organization. Second is the technology is not mature enough to take all of this data and really create very insightful patterns. The intent has now come in. Every leader wants to make better decisions and create strategic differentiators. So what this is now going to do is going to be a democratization of this entire practice of advanced data analytics across the organization, which means that you can now see better decision making, which improves your efficiencies at an operational level. You can look at data patterns and create strategic differentiators for your business. All this is going to help us into our newer businesses like home decor.
Thanks, Deepak. An important takeaway from what you just saw is that analytics can identify key differentiators for your business and ultimately help your organization make better decisions. This leads right into our next vision area. Analytics optimizes decisioning for the entire organization. Business leaders are always looking for emerging competitive advantages in dynamic markets, and SAS helps you optimize and automate decisions so you can consistently maintain your competitive edge. And analytics is foundational to this. For data scientists who are looking to boost productivity, SAS automates tasks like data transformations, building pipelines, and even model selection and optimization. From an IT perspective, SAS monitors the performance of analytics through the entire life of the model, so you can be sure that models are performing as expected. Fourth, analytics, if done responsibly, promotes transparency and trust. SAS delivers this through end-to-end governance of data, models, and decisions. For business leaders, ensuring consistency and accuracy will ultimately build confidence and trust in the value of machine learning and AI. And for data scientists, SAS includes explainability with every model that you create, so you have the insights to ensure your models are fair and explainable. And for our last vision area, we are pushing the boundaries of the larger composite AI movement that's happening across the industry. The accelerated digital transformation of organizations is demanding more sophisticated decisioning. And this requires input from multiple analytic techniques, such as descriptive statistics, natural language processing, deep learning, audio processing, computer vision, and many, many more. Companies that can quickly harness these analytic techniques ultimately have a competitive advantage in their digital transformation. And for data scientists, you can incorporate different analytic capabilities in a repeatable workflow to tackle some of the biggest challenges in the world. And finally, for those in IT, implementing SAS helps you deliver digital agility to your organization, adding significant value to your existing investments in data and applications. So in summary, whether you're a business leader, data scientist, or IT professional, SAS is your trusted partner to help you navigate the new normal and gain a competitive advantage in the market. Now I know many of you have made large investments in data lakes, applications, and cloud. And we know this complex environment can feel overwhelming at times. And you may be wondering if you're getting full value. Well, I'm here to tell you that our advancements in SAS Viya have enabled us to bring order and governance to the entire analytic ecosystem across commercial and open source solutions. We are in relentless pursuit of simplifying this environment without compromising flexibility, scalability, or accuracy. SAS Viya is our cloud-native AI analytic and data management platform. It is fully containerized, running on Kubernetes, and supported by continuous integration and continuous delivery. It also supports the integration and governance of open source models built in R and Python, as well as world-class models built with SAS. It's important to note that SAS Viya is also cloud portable. This enables us to meet you in your environment of choice, whether that is on-premises, in the cloud, on the edge, or all of the above. Another way we're advancing the ecosystem is by partnering with many of the leading edge companies in the market to reduce complexity and deliver faster time to value. I want to highlight a few of these key partnerships today. Last year, we formed a strategic partnership with Microsoft to provide the best experience for our joint customers as they transition to the cloud. And organizations are already seeing great results and realizing the value of our combined expertise. More to come on this in a few minutes. Another partner is Red Hat, the leading enterprise Kubernetes platform. Red Hat and SAS provide the flexibility to deploy anywhere, whether it's in a data center, in the cloud, or both. And when you're working in the cloud, you also need to think about cost. We recently announced a strategic partnership with SingleStore, which provides advanced data solutions to leading companies around the world. We're excited to work with them to bring unparalleled scalability while reducing costs for our customers. We've already had significant interest from some of our largest customers around the world and how this partnership can benefit them. Now, before we move on, let me highlight a great example of how SAS Viya is adding significant value to the ecosystem through our partnerships. Office Depot Europe is simplifying its organizational structure to focus on its e-commerce brand, Viking. Due to the pandemic, they accelerated their digital transformation and chose SAS as their strategic decisioning platform. In addition to SAS, they're using 2 other platforms in the ecosystem that are addressing e-commerce, financial planning, and order management. Bottom line, our platform brings cohesion to simplify and govern enterprise-wide decisioning. They are also in the process of moving from on-premises to the cloud. As part of that, the SaaS estate is being moved to SaaS Cloud, which is powered by Microsoft Azure. SaaS Viya is integrating with Microsoft Power BI and open source technologies to support enterprise BI, analytics, and ad hoc reporting. So speaking of Microsoft, let's take a closer look at how we're integrating our software. I want to welcome Nick Parker, Corporate Vice President for Global Partner Solutions at Microsoft. He's here to discuss how our partnership is helping customers achieve real business outcomes. Hi, Nick. Thanks for joining us today.
Nice to see you, Brian. Thanks for having me here.
Well, it's hard to believe we announced our strategic partnership nearly 1 year ago at SAS Global Forum. That's where we shared our vision to combine SaaS analytics expertise with Microsoft's cloud expertise. And with Microsoft Azure as our preferred cloud provider, our goal is to provide the best experience and value as our customers transition to the cloud. Our teams have really rallied together to carry out this vision, even during a challenging year. I mean, we've built and introduced innovative solutions to help businesses solve some of their toughest challenges. And we've also rolled up our sleeves with joint engineering efforts to improve analytic performance in the cloud. So Nick, let's start with a quick introduction, and then I'd love to hear your perspective on our progress.
Thanks, Brian. So as Brian said, my name is Nick Parker, and I run the Global Partner Solutions team at Microsoft. GPS is Microsoft's single commercial partner channel with 4 lines of business: independent software vendors, system integrators, device partners, and services partners. Let me start. It's great to see the momentum that we've had together in our first year, built on that incredible customer and client success. What I love is we've introduced our new cloud-native flagship solution, SaaS Viya, now built on Azure, multiple SaaS integrations across Azure, Dynamics 365, Microsoft 365, Power Platform, and Office. All of this empowering users with more choice, access, and performance to the solutions they're already familiar with. We're helping our mutual customers across dozens of industries to amplify their cloud journey by migrating their SaaS workloads to Azure. We're excited to partner with you, bringing that trusted experience in the cloud for customers to build on top of, especially given our journey on customer transformation and our own transformation from on-premises deployments to the cloud.
I'll just quickly add to that. It's incredible to see the momentum that our build with, go-to-market, and sales teams have achieved over the last year. It's also been exciting to see our engineering teams leverage each other's latest APIs to quickly deliver compelling value for our customers. And as we've said, the value of our partnership allows us to converge the best experiences of our respective companies, especially for our mutual customers who are migrating from on-premises to cloud and hybrid environments. And I'd love for you to share some examples of our customers realizing this value.
Thanks, Brian. There are many to choose from, but one of the ones that's really exciting for me and the team here is the Kaiser Permanente Biobank solution, where they're deploying SaaS on Azure to power its new genomics platform. The scalability and security that we jointly have provided will help the organization quickly and safely draw insights from its research, which explores important questions about healthcare and disease management. This supports the all-up organization's efforts to deliver truly personalized precision medicine. And what we've done there is so central to how we bring that customer value that it really underscores the core value prop of our two companies together. Another great example of this is Banco Bradesco, one of the largest private banks in Brazil. Bradesco today is an important customer of SaaS Cloud on Azure. The bank needed more efficiency and flexibility in running its risk management solutions. With around 70 million customers, Bradesco has a huge amount of data to process and analyze every day in real time. So they decided to move to SaaS Cloud on Azure in order to meet these business needs. These are just a few examples of where SaaS solutions now built on Azure, combined with a variety of deep technology integrations, benefit our shared customers.
Well, thanks, Nick. It's really incredible to see these tangible business outcomes. Another example I want to call out is AEG Sports. They're a worldwide leader in sports and live entertainment. AEG is using SAS Via Advanced Analytics on Microsoft Azure to digitally transform the future of sports entertainment. Let's take a look.
We selected to work with SAS and Microsoft mainly due to our trust in both partners. We had existing relationships with both of them for years, and both were providing best-in-class services in their respective areas. For us, SAS and Microsoft working together is like a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario. We've taken two key partners of ours, combined best in breed from both, and allowed us to make actionable business decisions and utilize the software to help improve our business. We've had a number of benefits by running SAS on Azure. First off, cost efficiency. We've actually saved money by running on Azure compared to a previous partner. With the additional savings we've seen from moving SAS to Azure, we've been able to invest into our data and in our analytical capabilities. We've tapped into additional data points, looked at different models, and really allowed us to be nimble in how we adjust to coming back from COVID. Our customer expectations coming out of the pandemic are going to be numerous. We need to make them feel comfortable. We need to showcase the value of our product, especially being a live entertainment business. We know that fans coming to our arenas, how they consume media, how they watch our games, all of this stuff is going to change drastically. Second, speed. Our processes are running faster and more efficiently than before. Third, our connection. Via was the driver to help us more easily share results, but a simple thing like single sign-on with Microsoft Active Directory has allowed us to more easily communicate insights across our organization. By combining what both partners do best, we knew it would create the most optimal analytical platform for our organization and propel us forward and set us up for the future.
Man, that was such a great example of how digital transformation is really driving the post-COVID sports fan experience. As you can see, many companies are adapting and leveraging data and analytics at every turn to disrupt and create new customer experiences. Now, looking to the future, SAS and Microsoft will continue to improve our value proposition to joint customers. Bottom line, we're just getting started. And it's all built on the latest release of SAS Via, which has been optimized to run natively on Microsoft Azure and integrates with Azure services. The result is a platform that makes it easier for you to design, run, and manage your analytics and data processing workloads in the cloud. So Nick, talk about some of the key integrations that will help drive business outcomes for customers.
Thanks, Brian. So let's chat about a few that we're really excited about together. As customers have come to expect, SAS has connected us to a wide variety of Azure data sources, with more on the way. But perhaps the most interesting one is the connectivity with Azure Synapse Analytics, where users can connect seamlessly to Synapse SQL pools or push jobs to SAS embedded process running in the Synapse Spark pool. We're also enabling users to include decisioning as part of Power Platform with the SAS Decisioning Power Connector. This will allow them to embed models and decisions in web and mobile apps, automate business processes with intelligent decisioning and centrally managed business rules. In terms of Office apps, Via capabilities like charts and data are now connected to Excel, expanding the reach of SAS Analytics to business users across Excel for Windows, Mac, and web. Finally, we're thrilled to see a very simple to use and tightly integrated connection between SAS Via and Microsoft Azure Machine Learning. This gives SAS users the ability to publish Python models from SAS Model Manager directly to our AML. And we're soon going to offer the ability to publish SAS models directly into AML. There's a lot more very exciting SAS integrations with Azure services in the pipeline, giving users more choice and access to the tools they are familiar with. It's a really super compelling story for our shared customers.
I agree. We have some amazing things in the works. We're also working to evolve more SaaS industry solutions into Via and into the Azure Marketplace. One example is our Predict and Plan Demand solution, which is now available in the Azure Marketplace. It forecasts the latest customer demands and makes adjustments for supply chain disruptions. This ultimately helps retailers and consumer packaged goods companies to stay ahead of inventory needs. Now, let's look at another example in the pharmaceutical industry. high-value biopharmaceuticals, vaccines, and gene therapy products face increasing regulatory and security requirements. At the same time, demand is surging. Our cold chain for biologics solution leverages SAS analytics for IoT, Azure IoT services, and the Microsoft Healthcare Cloud, all to maintain product quality, minimize loss, and avoid potential violations. Finally, the Life Science Analytics Framework, powered by Azure, gives customers a competitive edge in the heavily regulated world of clinical research analytics. Customers are able to modernize trial designs and deliver life-changing therapies to markets faster. Well, Nick, I think that's all we have time for today. Thanks again for joining us. Any final thoughts you want to share?
Thanks for having me, Brian. We have some incredible momentum and exciting things ahead for the partnership. As demonstrated by our work together this past year, our partnership is driving innovation and providing more choice for our shared customers and clients, and addressing a wider range of customer needs so that they can digitally transform. We're happy to be on this journey with SAS, and we look forward to our continued partnership success. Thank you all.
Thanks so much, Nick. On a final note, we invite everyone to join the breakout sessions about SAS and Microsoft throughout the conference. One session includes a video tour of our beautiful SAS campus while showcasing the power of SAS Viya on Microsoft Azure. Tune in to see what it's all about. You can also stop by the Microsoft booth in the Innovation Hub to engage with our teams and learn more about how we provide a seamless experience for running your analytics in the cloud. Stay tuned as we bring more and more capabilities to the market. Now, as you heard, Microsoft is our preferred cloud partner, and our latest release of SAS Viya is optimized for Microsoft Azure. At the same time, we recognize that our customers have many options, and we're committed to ensuring a seamless integration with our software. As Dr. Goodnight said, this year we're releasing SAS Viya on additional cloud providers, including Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, and Red Hat OpenShift. By integrating with these cloud services, we provide flexibility to run SAS wherever you need, on-premises, in the cloud, or on the edge. Now, technology is only one part of the equation. It's also important to have strong partnerships with global systems integrators so we can help our customers through their cloud transformation. And Accenture is one of these very important partnerships. Today, I'm excited to recognize and welcome Accenture as our 2021 Global Partner of the Year, which is our most prestigious award for our partners. Accenture is not only a trusted partner of SAS, but also of Microsoft as well. Our mutual partnership enables us to accelerate time to value and innovation to help our customers. Joining me today is Sanjeev Vora, who is the Global Lead for Applied Intelligence at Accenture. Sanjeev, welcome to SAS Global Forum, and congratulations on being named our Partner of the Year.
Thank you very much, Brian, and we are super excited about this. Our teams are very proud of this achievement. So thanks for inviting us and for this award. And we are delighted for this partnership. It's been a long-standing partnership. We've done a lot of good work together, and I think we can do more in the future. You also announced about your strategic alignment with Microsoft, which I think is very critical for us because they are one of our top partners in ecosystem for helping clients who really want to go to journey to cloud and finally extract the business value or unlock the business value. So no better time than this, Brian, for the two companies to really strengthen our relationship and help our clients.
I'll second that. I mean, the teams are doing a lot of great work together and doing an incredible job. So we really appreciate your bold vision for cloud transformation and for making SAS the foundation of that vision. So Sanjeev, it was great to work with your team on Accenture's recent technology vision report. And as you know, one of the key themes in the report is cloud transformation. And I want to kind of talk more about how the impacts of that have been affecting your industry.
Yeah, I think it's been fundamental change in the industry, especially after the COVID. I think the last year has taken a different routing in terms of accelerating the whole change that companies are going after in terms of digital transformation. And I think we are seeing key trends in the market where four things are happening in my view. Like the first thing is the whole discussion about unlocking the value and leveraging cloud to the fullest potential is no more a CIO discussion. It is no more a chief analytics officer discussion. It has moved one level up in terms of having that discussion at the C-suite, where the business leaders are involved, CFOs are involved, CEOs of the companies are involved. CEO himself and herself are looking at this agenda, saying how data, AI, cloud can really shape up their organization and can empower them. So that's number one trend and shift that we see, which is phenomenal. And this has happened more in the last 12 to 18 months than in the past. I mean, it's a clear trend around transformation through AI and data. The second thing is cloud is foundational. It is coming out very clear that cloud in the beginning has given companies the flexibility, resiliency, and also, let's say, some cost containment. But essentially what this cloud is doing, it's creating a platform for now companies to figure out how they unlock the business processes and how they make it process more intelligent. And that can happen with the scale and enterprise-wide data and AI adoption, and not just doing on a functional and use case basis, but looking at multiple or many use cases across the enterprise to fuel the energy into the system. And it's a hard thing, it's a complex, but that's happening. The third thing is, I think, the trend which is we are seeing is that clients have, many of our clients, joint clients actually, Brian, have invested huge amount of energy into this area for the last many years, and we learned good and bad lessons, right, of doing this stuff. I think the time is now when the people who have learned those lessons, they are right now questioning in terms of how do we scale out. And when you scale out, then I think the question is about the quality of solution. So I think the discussion is now landing up saying, can it be done? How much time does it take to be done? What organization support is required to enable that sort of enterprise-grade change in the company and unlock the value? And the last but not the least, which we should not underestimate, I call it the last mile. And the last mile is that most of the companies actually really need to invest in retooling and retraining themselves at all the levels, starting from top to mid-level executives to the below everybody, and obviously the powerhouse of the people who do it for living, which I mean, so people like data scientists and machine learning experts and everybody else. But they need to really look at holistically about the change, the company, which it takes time, but it requires a very concentrated and orchestrated effort in the company. We should start from top. And we have started seeing those companies who are now leading in the pack in their respective industry and trying to make those investments. As we talked about data and AI as foundational for any business transformation, I mean, the work that we are doing for Scania, I think it's remarkable. And I think, why don't we just play the video?
Hi, my name is Helena Hannebrandt, and I work as Director Transformation and Operation at Scania Financial Services. I joined Scania about 2 years ago with the assignment to reposition financial services into the digital economy, meaning we had to refocus our staff's attention from administrative tasks to the customer. And also, we needed to integrate and shape the future with the rest of the Scania to really meet new business models and the customer in its ecosystem. That means that we are engaging in over 60 markets with a rather high technical debt, where we are currently run very decentralized in a very complex, scattered, and costly environment. And in order to accelerate our digital transformation, we really need to go into a more structured, harmonized, and modularized environment. Of course, we will do that not on-prem, but rather in cloud. One of the first assignments that we started with was analytics, where we combined sales, segmentation, and profitability in order to early reap benefit on where to put our energy and efforts and what clients to push extra for.
That was a great sneak peek. If you want to learn more about this project, I encourage you to check out the Accenture Business Session tomorrow. Now, Sanjeev, just like at Scania Financial, we know customers have been forced to accelerate their transition to the cloud. Can you talk specifically about how our partnership has really enabled this acceleration?
No, absolutely. And as you know, that we are working with multiple clients. Scania was just one example. And most of the clients are now looking for real-time insight generation. I mean, that's what they want, right? And I think SAS, we are placed squarely into that area. And I think what we're doing right now we are actually training. We have a very strong practice in SAS, but we are training our people and creating a SAS dedicated BIA practice. And that's going to be very critical for our clients to help them migrate to the cloud. You may also be aware that we just acquired a company called Core Compete, which is SAS Platinum partner, and they bring super duper talent in this space, and they will be they are already part of Accenture family. Shiva Kovan Reddy, who's actually the CEO of this company, is going to be joining our global leadership team. So he has a mandate to build this talent and accelerators and innovation at scale. So that's how we're investing in this space. There's a lot to do in this area, and I think there are two things which are very critical for clients. One is quality of solution. So they really want a solution which can help them generate and unlock much higher value than they have done earlier. And the second thing is speed. So they're really asking for us to go fast. So more to come, and I think the next few years are a defining moment for both the companies to see how much we can do together.
That is awesome. What I really love about Accenture's Cloud Factory for SaaS is that we're working together proactively to really advance our customers' interests and help them reach their goals. That's involving a lot of things like us training models, building accelerated assets so that customers can hit the ground running and get to the cloud. And that's why customers choose Accenture and SaaS. Well, with that, Sanjeev, I want to say thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Brian, and we are delighted to be a partner, and I think there's much more to do in the coming years. We are entering into the era of intelligence, so there's much higher potential for us to actually work together and help our clients to unlock the value with cloud, with data, with analytics. So look forward for this, strengthening this relationship as we go along in the journey together.
Absolutely. All right, if you want to learn more about Cloud Factory and our partnership, I encourage you to visit Accenture in the Innovation Hub throughout the conference. Now, let's move on to an increasingly important area of the analytics ecosystem, Internet of Things, also known as IoT. Delivering production IoT systems requires extensive integration. That's why we're partnering with over 50 IoT technologies in the industry. And by teaming up with these organizations, we extend our industry-recognized analytics lifecycle all the way out to the edge, anywhere our customers need it. So what does this mean? I want to take a look at a few examples with you. First, we're partnering with ASM Pacific Technology, which is the world's largest supplier of assembly and packaging equipment in the semiconductor industry. We're working together to develop a solution that operationalizes analytics and machine learning, both at the edge and in the cloud. This will help maximize yield and production quality while also reducing defects. Another example is our work with the town of Cary in North Carolina. In partnership with Microsoft, we developed a flood prediction and preparedness solution. It's used to predict where and when flooding might occur. By combining real-time data from sensors with cloud-based weather forecasts, this allows us to automate the emergency response process, which reduces the impact of flooding incidents and ultimately improves citizen safety. As you can see, when we say everywhere, we truly mean everywhere. So on a final note, I encourage you to attend tomorrow's Technology Connection to dive deeper. We'll further break down how our software drives analytics and decisioning and delivers unprecedented time to value for our customers. Over the last year, we've all seen emerging companies that are thriving in this new normal. They are achieving this by embracing digital transformation. And this was achieved through the integration of analytics and decisioning. At the end of the day, if you're not doing this, you will be at a competitive disadvantage. And speed and accuracy of decisions are of the essence. Know that you can look to SAS as your trusted partner. We will empower you to accelerate, innovate, and disrupt.
Thank you so much, Brian. And remember that Brian and a fabulous team of demoers are back tomorrow morning at the 10 a.m. Eastern for Technology Connection. You don't want to miss it. Now, I've hit on some of the highlights you can check out today and tomorrow, but there's a lot more to discover. For all you foodies out there, tomorrow at 12:15 Eastern, how about an interactive cooking demo with celebrity chef Wolfgang Puck? Again, that deliciousness happens tomorrow at 12:15. And also at 12:15 tomorrow, something you don't want to miss, Women in Analytics invites you to be a part of an interactive conversation with Gabriela Schuster around how to become an ally in breaking through the gender equity divide. This session is designed to inspire all of us to become agents of change. And to finish the day tomorrow, how about a little music? We'll have 4-time Grammy winner, 2-time CMA Entertainer of the Year, Keith Urban. He's going to play, he's going to sing, and he's going to share some insights on the intersection of curiosity and music development. What an incredible week. And now we've got another fabulous offering. It's our keynote presentation. To moderate this session, it is my pleasure to welcome Senior Vice President and Head of Marketing of SAS, Jennifer Chase.
I am so excited to have with me today Adam Grant. Adam is an organizational psychologist, and he studies how we lead, work, and live. His pioneering research has inspired people to question assumptions about motivation, generosity, and creativity. He's a deeply original thinker who formulates unique and counterintuitive ideas that are backed by data-driven science and case studies. And we all love data here. Adam's books have sold millions of copies, and his TED Talks have more than 25 million views. He hosts Work Life, a chart-topping TED original podcast. He writes for the New York Times on work and psychology. He's also Wharton's top-rated professor and one of Fortune's 40 under 40. I mean, truly impressive. Adam, welcome to SAS Global Forum.
Thanks, Jen. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, Adam, I've been inspired by your work, from Give and Take to Originals to Option B, and now your latest, Think Again, the power of knowing what you don't know. Now, Think Again resonated with me for 2 reasons. One, I think it strikes a really timely chord for where we are as a society. And 2, it really reads like a handbook for how we at SAS think about making the world a better place. So let's start today's discussion by having you share the premise of Think Again.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the enthusiasm, and I hope you don't rethink it by the end of this conversation. I think, I just love working with people who are data-driven, and I think if every workplace I ever had a chance to study and advise was as data-driven as SAS, I probably wouldn't have needed to write this book. But I have watched too many companies go under because leaders were good at thinking, but bad at rethinking. I think about BlackBerry, Blockbuster, Kodak, Sears, Toys R Us, right? All cases where leaders fell in love with their visions and strategies, and they failed to adapt until it was too late. And I think what gets a lot of us in trouble is we get trapped in the mindsets of preachers and prosecutors. We preach that we're right. We're trying to proselytize the truth to everyone else. We prosecute other people who question us for being wrong because we're trying to win an argument and prove our case. And they're the ones who need to think again, right? But we're all good. One of the things that I think we would all benefit from is thinking a little bit more like scientists. And when I say think like a scientist, I don't mean that you need to go out and buy a telescope or a microscope, right? I just mean don't let your ideas become your identity. Value humility over pride and curiosity over conviction. And look for reasons why you might be wrong, not just the reasons why you must be right. Listen to ideas that make you think hard, not just the ones that make you feel good. And surround yourself with people who challenge your thought process, not just the ones who agree with your conclusions.
Wow, there's so much to unpack in that answer, and we're definitely going to do that. I want to start with thinking like a scientist. It requires curiosity and questions and data. Now, we're in an evolving world, right, where we don't have all the answers in front of us. So how can a leader think like a scientist when so much is changing around them in today's age?
I think there's a great example with an experiment that was done with entrepreneurs in Italy a couple of years ago. They basically get randomly assigned to either a control group or a scientific thinking group. And the control group runs their company just like any founder would. The scientific thinking group is taught to just look at their business through a scientist's goggles. They're told your strategy, just a theory. When you talk to customers, that's a great way to develop specific hypotheses. And then when you launch a product or a service, that's actually an experiment to test your hypotheses. It turns out that just being randomly assigned to think like a scientist is enough to multiply the revenue that the founders bring in over the next year by an average of 40x,
wow,
which is a staggering effect. And the major mechanism that seems to drive that is the founders, when they're taught to think like scientists, they're more than twice as likely to pivot. Right? Instead of doubling down and falling into this trap that we call escalation of commitment to a losing course of action, where you start to get some negative feedback and you just can't admit to yourself or anybody else that you might have made a mistake, and then you basically double down. What the founders who learned to think like scientists did was they said, oh, well, maybe it's time to rethink my strategy. Maybe it's time to rethink the market that I launched in. Maybe there was product market misfit. And I think in this rapidly changing world that we live in, this is a terrible time to make a commitment, but it's a great time to run an experiment. And I'd love to see more leaders asking questions and saying, okay, what are the experiments we should be running around the future of work, around hybrid and remote collaboration? What are the experiments that we could test around a 4-day work week or a 6-hour workday? And there are so many unanswered questions that we've never bothered to explore that I would say, if 2020 forced many of us to do a lot of rethinking of assumptions and opinions, my hope for 2021 and beyond is that we choose to do our rethinking more proactively and more deliberately.
That's fantastic. And it reminds me, something in your book you talked about was we need to all think more like forecasters. And I'd love for you to talk about that a little more. We have actual forecasters in the audience today who are going to love that that's some advice that you're giving to us.
Yeah, I think that forecasting is something we all do, but many of us don't even realize we're doing it. So anytime you make a hiring decision, that's a forecast. You're making a prediction that somebody is going to be a strong performer or an effective contributor to your culture. And the problem is that we don't keep score, right? We don't track whether the person we hired actually had higher performance or a bigger cultural contribution than the people that we rejected. And the idea of forecasting really starts with saying when we make those kinds of predictions, we should be precise about them. We should have confidence intervals around them, right? We should say, okay, I have 63% confidence that this person is going to be a superstar that I just hired. And that applies to every kind of decision that we can make. So as you know, there are these forecasting tournaments that people compete in around the world to try to predict major events like who's going to win the next World Cup or who's going to win the next election in a given country. And when you study these forecasters, what you see is most people make the mistake of envisioning the likely future state of the world and then making their prediction and formulating a strategy around that. What the best forecasters do differently is they imagine 7 or 8 possible futures, and then they bet on the strategy that has a chance of succeeding across most of them, which of course is more robust and helps to build their resilience. But then they also make a list of conditions that would change their mind. And that keeps them honest. It forces them to say, okay, I thought that France was going to win, but now their star player got injured, and that was one of my preconditions for rethinking. And now I'm forced to question the conviction that I had before. And the hardest thing for a forecaster is not to get attached to the prediction you've already made. And those preconditions for changing your mind, I think, buy you the flexibility and the freedom to keep revising and keep rethinking.
And I love that thinking around flexibility. Something else in your book you talked about was this idea of confidence and humility. And it really got me thinking again, because on their own, those words mean something independently. But when you put them together, it's different and really powerful. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about confident humility.
I think about confident humility as being secure enough in your strengths to acknowledge your weaknesses and being so determined to get it right that you're willing to admit that you were wrong. And I've worked with too many leaders who are afraid to say, I don't know. They think they have to pretend they have all the answers. Or they live in constant fear of admitting I was wrong because they think that everyone's going to be convinced that they're incompetent. And what we forget is it actually takes a lot of confidence to say those things, right? It requires very little insecurity to admit, you know what, I don't know, but I think I can figure it out, or I think we could figure it out together. To say, you know what, I was wrong about that. And I think the thing that many leaders fail to recognize is that the faster you can realize you were wrong, the faster you can move toward being right. And last time I checked, that's where we want to get as quickly as possible. And I think that takes confident humility.
And it seems like confident humility is that sweet spot, right? Between being, you talked about being an armchair quarterback and then having imposter syndrome. Now, I would say I found myself maybe on both of them, self-aware enough to know I've been on both sides of that, right? But more often than not, I think I'm in the imposter syndrome category, I think, as are a lot of women. So give us some advice of how we can turn that imposter syndrome feeling maybe into a strength.
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is ask, why does this have to be a syndrome? It sounds like this chronic, debilitating disease. And yes, there are people who walk around believing that they're frauds, that they don't belong where they are, and everyone is going to find out. It's only a matter of time. And that obviously can undermine people's motivation and confidence and performance. But what's much more common is just everyday imposter thoughts, moments or pangs of self-doubt. Like, I wonder if I'm qualified for this role. Or am I up to the challenge in front of me today? And we had a doctoral student at Wharton, Basima Tufik, who decided to study what happens when you have those imposter thoughts more often. And she found that there were no consistent costs of doubting yourself more frequently, and there were surprising benefits. Investment professionals made better decisions on average when they had more frequent imposter thoughts. Medical professionals actually listened more to their patients when they had more imposter thoughts. And what seems to be going on there is that those moments of self-doubt, they motivate you to work harder, to close the gap between your confidence and the competence that other people see in you. They also motivate you to work smarter, to say, I don't know everything. And so I need to learn from other people. I might rethink the way that everybody else has always done things. And I think the lesson from that is that imposter thoughts can be fuel. That's not to say that's always easy, right? I know as a white man, it's easy for me to take those as motivation because I live in a world that generally assumes I'm competent. Right? If you're a woman or a person of color, the data tell us that people are much more likely to question your competence, and you have to prove it day in and day out. And I think that, that it's probably a harder situation to live in, but the basic premise holds that when you have those imposter thoughts, say, okay, this is an opportunity for me to be a better learner. I think that can propel us forward instead of holding ourselves back.
I think that's great advice. And I think we can also look to help others when maybe we see an imposter syndrome or doubt in a colleague to help them build up their confidence.
I think so too. And what's funny about that is every once in a while I'll meet someone who has pretty extreme imposter thoughts. And they'll say, I realize that other people promoted me to this role, but I know I'm not capable. Like, do you notice an irony here? That you really don't have any faith in yourself. And yet you have total faith in your own judgment of your skills instead of listening to the other people who can see you objectively. Maybe you should take those imposter thoughts and say, I'm probably the worst person to judge whether I'm qualified or not. Let me trust the people who know my abilities better than I do.
Well, and that's a nice segue to talk a little bit about how you can surround yourself with people who are going to tell you the truth, that challenge network. And I'd love for you to talk about your challenge network and how you've really put that to work for you.
Sure. Most of us lean on a support network when we think about the people that we want around us, right? Our biggest cheerleaders, the people who encourage us. But we also need a challenge network, a group of thoughtful critics who point out our blind spots and help us really see what we need to rethink.
CSTIC TV, tu portal de tecnología e informática, al servicio de la sociedad y los negocios.